wait for a few more people to join us. How you guys doing out there? Thanks for checking in. Doug, man, first one in. First or second. Anyway, I'm in Bee Cave now. I'm starting the journey in to the studio. I don't think we'll be able to go all the way. I don't think I've got enough talk in me, but it's Tuesday and crazy times. How you doing out there? You getting by? You pulling your hair out, climbing the walls, figuring out new outlets, new ways to do things? I'll give you a little insight into my day and how I'm trying to cope. Overall, generally, life is good. It's just the stress level, and I don't know how you guys deal with stress or if you feel stress at all, but it hits me pretty hard, and my brain is pretty active and can come up with some pretty crazy scenarios. But the sun is out right now, and it just looks like a normal day in Austin, Texas. Everything's green, the blue bonnets are popping, and it's hard to believe that there's destruction out there right now. It's so weird. An invisible threat. But anyway, I titled this one Bob's Drive-In. Not Drive-In, Drive-In. I probably should come up with a better title, because it sounds like Bob's Drive-In, which may be another career option, but right now I'll stick with radio. St. Patrick's Day, I'm wearing the first time and only time I've worn this. I must have bought it last year in Chicago when we went to the river, when they turned it green or whatever for St. Patrick's Day. It's a lot of fun. If you've never done that in Chicago, of course canceled this year, but I've got my Blackhawks St. Patrick's Day, I don't know what you call this, jersey, whatever, shirt, and rocking the Martin Brothers protective cap today. Shout out to the Martin Brothers and Shag and Amanda and Joe and the gang. So yeah, woke up today kind of depressed. I had definitely numbers rolling around in my head. As someone who's been investing for a long time, has some pretty raw numbers, and it's pretty hard to reconcile that. Trying not to panic, trying not to sell off, but it's very hard. It's very hard. And if you've never done it or experienced it, I don't know if I can recommend it, but they're very hard decisions to make at the time, and things move very quickly, and I don't know, I can't really get into it, cry me a river, but I woke up with numbers rolling around in my head this morning. It's kind of weird. I get up around 7 or 8, and it's still kind of dark outside, so it's weird. Just kind of a weird vibe. But anyway, got up, made breakfast for Jen and I, and Caden and I went to the park today. I guess he's on some kind of intramural volleyball team at his school. He doesn't do just Quidditch. I'm sorry. Hey, Chip. How you doing, man? God, I haven't seen you in a long time. Ed Clements out there. Ed Clements in the car. Right on. Passing Cuernavaca right now on the Bee Cave Road. But, yeah, I said he wanted to practice some volleyball in the backyard. I said, well, let's just go to the park and let's just hit the ball around and warm up and do, walk and, I don't know, just get some fresh air. And we went to the local park. I think it's called Central Park. I don't know, in Bee Cave. And it was kind of interesting because there were families out there playing together. Saw a family having a picnic. I don't know, maybe that shit was always going on and I just never saw it, but you see people doing having different strategies for coping and getting fresh air and being with the family. I mean, the virus can't really get you outside, so I've made it a point, and I'm trying to let my kids in on it. Let's get outside. Let's exercise. Let's breathe some air. Let's have picnics. I'm planning on having a small fire. Let's not call it a bonfire. But I'm planning on having a little fire in my backyard. Now, I don't have a fancy fire pit like somebody else we know. I have one of those $30 wrought iron rectangular pits on some cinder blocks in my backyard that I can throw some logs in. That's, kind of a Kid Rock fire pit. I don't know. But, yeah, nothing fancy, but I'm going to put some logs on the fire, and I think Caden and I and maybe a few neighbors are just going to sit outside after work and have some Jameson, have a couple pops, and keep our social distance, and life goes on, right? St. Patrick's Day, normally good times. But anyway, who else is there? That's the way. That's right, Chip. That's right. If you guys have any questions when I get to a red light, and I don't think I've had one yet, but if I get to a red light, I can answer any questions you have about the show, what we're doing. Apparently everybody else in the world in broadcast has figured out how to communicate from their homes and broadcast successfully, but we have not been able to do that. I'm looking at different platforms in case of eventuality, and I've reached out to my friends at the Bennington Show and some other people that are doing it successfully to see what platforms they're using, if it's something like Zoom or whatever, and figure out how we can do it if shit gets worse than this. But family dodgeball, that's cool. Yeah, we're gonna get the drones out. We got toys. We've got things to do. Right now, I've got to get the boys on some kind of structure. I mean, Caden's a man now. He's 21, and I can't really tell him what to do other than to stay put. But, the kids are kind of in their summer mode right now where they're playing video games with their friends till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. And then they get up late, and I find myself, cooking in shifts or whatever. That shit's got to end immediately. So that's right. Yeah, Chip said, what did you say, man? Different times can be good times. I know. I mean, the simple things. I mean, the things that I thought were problems in January and February, man, I wish I had those problems right now. I wish that was it. Life was pretty good. And it still is. We got plenty of food. The supply chains are good. People are getting by. Hopefully not too many people are getting sick around here. Maybe this warm weather is going to turn it for us. But I think the restaurants are all basically closed except for takeout, in some cases delivery. And I'll put a plug in for, because I communicated with Tony C. this morning, who's on my Gutter Butter bowling team, and we're old friends. Well, we've been friends for a while. I met his dad first, Dan, the Danimal, years and years ago. But Tony's a great operator, got great restaurants, and he's a good dude, and his restaurants are going to be open for takeout and delivery. Tony C's in the Lead Kitchen and Tavern. So if you're around any of those and you're hungry and you're tired of making peanut butter and tuna sandwiches, give the Lead Kitchen a call. Have them deliver some good food for you, and give yourself a treat. One thing that I saw people are doing, and this is interesting, I don't know if it's going to be a thing or not, but I think I saw this on Facebook. Some people are doing Christmas. Some people are putting up their Christmas tree. And, maybe one person is putting up their... I'm not saying it's a thing yet. I'm not saying it's a... hey, Lester! What's up? I'm not saying it's a thing yet, but there have been rumors that people are doing Christmas in March, or Christmas in April. And it's not really a bad concept for the kids when you think about it. I'm going to run a yellow light. It's not a bad concept, right? And maybe order in some gifts from pick a day, make it Christmas in April, get some gifts in from Amazon, have them delivered or whatever, cheap ass stuff, and have some fun with it. So that's all we're really doing. My wife's working her ass off. She, as you know, many of you know, she sells software for a pretty big company out of Seattle, and travels. There's a cyclist there is waving to. I'm on 360 now at Bee Cave. What was I saying? I lost my chain of thought. What was I saying, John Duffy? I looked at that cyclist because he wanted to cross the road, and I totally zoned out. Chip's tree is still up. I believe it. Well, anyway, I can't remember what I was launching into there. I just touched my face again. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. We talked about Christmas in April, what some people were doing. Oh, Jennifer's job. Yeah. So she travels a lot. Her company's based out of Seattle. And, of course, she's been in lockdown. You know, travel's been canceled. So she's just working the phones from 8 in the morning till, as far as I know, 8 at night. And, you know, life goes on, and that's good for the economy. The people are out there that are able to work. And some people are not going to be able to work, and that's going to suck. So we got to find ways to support them. But there's Bryce. What's up, Bryce? Haven't seen you in a while. Some of these people are show fans. Some are neighbors that aren't fans. But tonight the Jameson will flow. Well, I say that. You know me. I'm a 2-drink maximum kind of person. Even during a crisis like this, I cannot find it in my heart to do drugs or get blasted on alcohol. Though everything deep in my psyche says that I should do that. I've got to keep it together. I got to stay vigilant. I don't know if it's my military family upbringing that makes me... I mean, I was out buying stuff 3-4 weeks ago for this eventuality, as I mentioned. Not hoarding, let's be clear. Not hoarding at all. But trying to give myself a 2-week pad of food and necessities, you know, in case stores close or something like that, which I don't think that's going to happen, but who knows? Who knows? Tim Wendell, are you back from London, bud? Tim Wendell is a guy that I went to Syracuse University with in 1974, and he took me in. I'd moved directly from England to Syracuse. I didn't know a soul. An uncle picked me up at the airport, drove me to the university. 1974, I was a pup. I was 17 years old, 18. I had just turned 18 in August of 74. And I just graduated from high school. My uncle picked me up from the airport, took me to my dorm with a little blue locker, a little blue foot locker. And my Uncle Louie wasn't much of a talker. He shook my hand and said, "You're going to meet all kinds." And he left. And I was stuck at Syracuse, not knowing a soul. I was 17, 18. Emotionally, I was about 11. Tim and his roommates down the hall at, was it Brewster Hall at Syracuse, took me in. We had a lot of same musical tastes, and man, I would have been lost. I want to tear up right now, because I would have been lost if somebody hadn't befriended me and made me part of a group that had probably only been established for a few days before I'd gotten there, but good bunch of guys. Tom Phillips, Tim Wendell. I don't remember Tim. I don't remember your roommate's name. It'll come to me eventually, but yeah, good to see you. Glad you're back. Barely made it back. Yeah, right. Conserve your drugs and alcohol. Yeah. Alcohol, no problem. Well, I say no problem, but the fine folks at Iron Wolf and 512, pretty good about spotting us bottles now and again for the occasional plug. So I'm pretty good on tequila and pretty good on everything that Iron Wolf does. Hot scotch is a favorite at my house and all that. I'm just going over the bridge right now. I wish I could show you out-of-towners the Pennybacker Bridge, but I'm probably going to be arriving at work just about showtime. But yeah, Jim Penwright was the other guy. Whatever happened to him from Syracuse? Anyway, I only did a semester at Syracuse because my dad was a Texas resident and was born in Texas, which makes me a Texan, by the way. I don't care what anybody says. Eventually, my dad got stationed at Bergstrom Air Force Base. Before it was an airport, it was an Air Force Base. There you go, kids. And I lived on base. But I moved back to Texas because my dad could get super cheap tuition for me here because he was a resident. I did a semester at St. Ed's in the spring of 75. And then in the fall of 75, I started classes at UT, started film school, or the process of getting into the film school at UT, which at the time, junior and senior year, they only let 15 people a year get into the film production program. So it was pretty, for an idiot like me, it was a big question mark whether I was going to make it that far. I had to get straight A's in my kind of freshman and sophomore year to get into the program. So that was an incentive, I guess. I did okay. I made it in. One of the guys that was in one of my classes was Kevin Reynolds, who directed Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, Waterworld, the infamous Waterworld he directed. And I crewed on his student film called Montezuma's Revenge at UT in 78, which eventually, that was the model, that was the short that eventually became the basis for the movie Fandango. But originally he called it Montezuma's Revenge. Then he went to USC and made another short, basically the same short, retitled it, and eventually all that kind of culminated into a movie called Fandango when he became a Hollywood director. But he was in my class at the time, and a few other people that made it into the business. I snuck into television in 78 when I graduated from UT. But that's all boring stuff, but I'm just talking as I go to work. Chris Fairbanks, what's up? A lot of familiar names. Every time I see the name Mark Ferguson, I think of the band Spirit. I heard Got a Line on You today. Pretty good, turned it up. That's another thing that's getting me through is music. It's always been a big part of my life, the old stuff. The Beatles, the Stones, Springsteen, Dylan. I've been, like every night, been watching parts of rock documentaries that I have lying around. I did No Direction Home last night, which is Scorsese's film about folk music and Bob Dylan specifically, but it gives you a pretty good overall view of the Greenwich Village scene in New York in the 60s, the folk scene. It's pretty interesting. It can be kind of dry, but I like the Dylan performance stuff. Been going back watching Western Stars from Springsteen. I just think it's an outstanding concert video. I like the little kind of philosophy vignettes that are sprinkled between the live performances, and I don't know if you're a Springsteen fan, that's pretty cool. I was thinking about George Harrison yesterday and was going to dust off Concert for Bangladesh and see how that holds up. But listening to a lot of Beatles right now, I don't know why. I guess it's just comforting. It's kind of like the comfort food of music. I can really escape when I'm listening to that. Oh, I watched last night. I watched Above Us Only Sky for the second time, which is it's a pretty good documentary about John Lennon making Imagine and living in that big mansion in the country, and it's just some amazing footage that they had. They had a lot of cameras running during that time, and you'll see a lot of footage of John that you may not have seen before. I mean, it's as personal, as close up as anything I've seen on Lennon, and it's really interesting. And one of the most interesting scenes is the scene where that American Claudio just shows up on Lennon's property, and part of him thinks he's Lennon, and part of him is just feels like he's drawn. You know, he traveled across the ocean to try to seek out John Lennon, and finally makes his way onto the property, and Lennon comes out to the door and meets this hippie dude, and named Claudio. His last name was Claudio, and eventually John invites him in for lunch, and it's a pretty touching emotional scene that, to my knowledge, is not staged whatsoever, but the cameras caught it, and pretty amazing. I'm on the final lap here, the final leg of the trip in, getting on 183 north right now, and this is making my drive go by a lot quicker, talking to you guys. I wish I could see more what you're saying. I hope I'm not boring you to death, but I'm just kind of freewheeling and just emptying my brain out. Plus, I haven't been to therapy in it's been about a month now. So I got to figure out how that's going to work for people. Is everybody going to meet their therapist via video or what? Why am I in therapy? Because I'm a constant worrier. That's why. I'm an insecure, neurotic worrier. And shit like that's going on in the world right now, shit like that is, that's like my kryptonite. You know what I mean? My wife is still in denial. I got to grab her sometimes by both arms and just say, I don't shake her. You know, I gently grab her by both arms and go, this is happening. This is real. It's time to lean into it. And I think she's finally getting the message, but thank God for her optimism, because it offsets my my pessimistic, neurotic, worrywart attitude. But I'll tell you what, and I pledge this to you, America, and all ships at sea. When this shit's over, it's gonna be a new me. It's gonna be a new me, and I ain't gonna sweat the small stuff anymore. And I don't think any of us should sweat the small stuff anymore, because life is too fragile. I know many people have said it in recent weeks, but man, the little problems that I had really don't seem like problems at all right now. I would love to have those problems right now, and not this big problem of trying to dodge an invisible disease. So anyway, that's it. I'm almost there. I passed Mr. Car Wash. And it's good to drive with you. I'll try to keep this up as long as people watch. I mean, I think I had 600 views by the end of the night, maybe 1,000 yesterday. So I'd love to, if you could figure out a way to send me questions that'll give me specific shit to talk about while I'm driving. I have about a 40-minute commute. I have about a 40-minute commute every day, so if I had specific stuff to talk to you guys about, or questions to answer about the show, or about my family, or about what's going on, would love to do that. Let's stay together. Let's be kind to each other. Let's thank the people that are working on our behalf at their own peril. People at grocery stores. The guy that just sold me this very small bottle of Jameson that I'm sneaking in to the station for after work. That may or may not be Jameson. It's Jameson. Those people, give them your thanks and let them know that you appreciate them being out there working. I have a respect. Nothing bad has happened to a lot of people yet, but just the unknown, the fear of the unknown, that's what this feels like. And for some of us, it's a pretty terrifying thing. So get through your day, have fun, love your family, take care of them, enjoy the great outdoors. I'm running every day, and tonight, get in your backyard, light a fire, and let's raise a glass of Jameson for old St. Pat, and I'll leave you with this. Sláinte.